So hey guys, it's Zion again, and we're back on the battlefield, and when I was recording this, the only servers that were remotely populated, or at least playable for me, were Close Quarters and TDM. So for the next couple days, I will be uploading Close Quarters and or TDM gameplay. Now, the TDM is on as many armored kill maps as I could find, so it is a little varied in that respect. And let me apologize as well for the fact that I use a shotgun with slugs. Specifically the Spaz with slugs. For the majority of this gameplay. I did not know I had slugs on the Spaz and wondered why I was doing so well. And then I saw I had slugs and I switched to buckshot. But let's get back to the topic at hand, which today is the skill ceiling. In basic terms, at least as I understand it, the skill ceiling of any competitive game is when you personally can get no better at any one particular aspect, and you hit the ultimate ceiling when you are as good as you will ever be at a single type of game. In first-person shooters, like Battlefield or Call of Duty, you hit that ceiling when you know all the maps like the back of your hand, you know all the weapon mechanics you could ever want to know, and your aim is as good and as quick and as tight as it's ever been. And it will never get any better. It may get worse, but it will never get better. Your reflexes are tiger-like, and you know exactly which routes to take, when, and what players will be doing in certain situations. And it can even get to a point where a player can take a room in a map and say, this person is going to come through that door in 5 seconds. And I know that because I've played this map so many times with so many different players that the time it took me to get to this location is the time that usually an enemy appears. And 9 times out of 10, they're right, because they've done it so often. People who've been playing Close Quarters and nothing but Close Quarters, that's a similar thing. Battlefield takes it a step further by adding class-specific abilities. So, for example, you might revive someone, thinking that he'll save you at a later date, or maybe if he's an assault guy, he'll revive you at a later date. As an engineer, if you're repairing something, you have to judge between, is the vehicle doing enough damage, and are there enough repair buddies that I could instead switch to mines and cover an area from a relatively inexperienced tank driver? Or should I stay with the repair tool and make sure that my tank is either in an attack or defensive position? As a support, you have to choose between Claymore, C4, and the third one, which escapes me. And as a recon, you have to choose between the T-Ugs, the MAV, and a third one, which, again, escapes me. And with those, you have to read the situation and your team's chemistry, as well as the enemy's chemistry. Does the team have too many engineers? And if so, should you go assault, so that you can take as many engineers as you can out, such that your team can move up? Or, if there's too many assault guys, do you become a sniper and take out some assault guys to make sure they don't start reviving each other non-stop? And I'm not going to extend my thinking any further because I think you get my point now. I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer. And I mentioned also that I write for a gaming blog, and the owner of that gaming blog, my boss, essentially, is really, really good at Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer. He's good at first-person shooters, but he's not quite on my level, and since I'm not on Skull's level, Skulls could beat him every day of the week. However, he could beat me and Skulls together trying to kill him, and then get a third guy for an additional 500 points. And the main reason is he can outthink us. Because in Assassin's Creed 3, the skill ceiling is almost non-existent. There's always more that can change. Say you're in a situation where you have 2 pursuers, and your target has 2 pursuers. The pursuers trying to kill you, your targets you are trying to kill. You have to consider, alright, I don't know who my pursuers are, but I know there will be an audio and probably visual cue when they show up. I know also that my 2 targets are within 5 feet of each other, but they don't know it. I don't know what abilities they have, what perks they have, if one of them is protecting the other, if they're in fact pursuing each other, And that level of thinking there is surface level in Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer. Because one of the things that's ingenious about that system is one ability counters another, which counters a third, which counters a fourth. So if one strategy that you come up with works, there are 3 other players on that team that probably have a strategy that will beat yours 9 weeks from Sunday. And until midway into the match, where it may have already been decided, you don't know what those strategies are. And taking into account that stealth and subtlety are more important even than the killing aspect in Assassin's Creed, the skill cap with different ability sets could be anywhere from low to, again, non-existent. And I was talking to my boss earlier, after I had been streaming some Assassin's Creed 3, with mixed results because Uplay and Ubisoft's PC servers are complete ass. He said that every game feels different. Not just because the map is different, not just because the players are different, but because everything about what the players are doing and using might be different. And that reminded me, not so much of Battlefield 3, because there's not as much destruction, but Battlefield Bad Company 2, where there was a metric crap ton of destruction, where entire buildings could be leveled. Very few matches in that game felt the same to me. I could play a 24/7 Valparaiso server for 3 hours, and of those 3 hours, I might have 2 or 3 similar games. I might play 10. So 70% of the time, I'm not playing the same game, even though I'm playing the same map. And it's mainly because there's more to the game than just, here's some enemies, let's go shoot them. The third base might be completely obliterated because it's made up almost entirely of breakable wood. Or it might be taken so quickly that the attackers for the fourth base have completely fortified their back end. And there are a whole lot of places for spawn campers to go and hole up, pick off a few guys, wait for the tank to spawn, take the Bradley, and go up there and have their repair monkeys keep it alive and cause some real trouble for all those pesky American attackers.